Today is an exciting day. John here. Just testing out my OAL tool. Just got this one a few days ago, as a matter of fact. And at a local place here, I was able to get one of my once fired shots, so it's custom fitted to my rifle, drilled and threaded, so it can be put on the OAL tool. What is the OAL tool, you ask? The overall length. Check this out. What this OAL gauge does is you thread a bullet on the tip. I wonder if my camera will focus there. No, I guess it won't. There's threads on the end of it. I'll try zooming in a different way maybe. There's threads and it's hollow. And so the idea is you have a once fired piece of brass drilled out and tapped for that thread. And ultimately, once that's in there, you place a bullet inside there. And with this plunger, you are able to push this plunger and slowly advance that bullet through the shell, through the brass, until you can get the exact moment where your bullet will protrude from the neck and touch the lands. Once you feel resistance, then you know that your moments are touching the lands. When that happens, you can lock that plunger in place with this little screw and then pull this back out. You'll have this still attached or threaded onto there and be able to determine how far away that bullet needs to be seated in order for it to touch the lands. Now, Hornady recommends that you dial it back to 1/1000ths before you seat it, because you do want just a tiny bit of gap so you're not pressing right up against the lands, otherwise you're going to cause excess pressure. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to take my OAL tool, pull back the plunger, thread in my custom one-shot brass, push the plunger all the way up. It has clearance there. I do recommend, when you're doing this, put your bullet in all the way, and you almost want to practice pushing that bullet, because you want to know exactly what tension you're going to feel when you push that bullet out. There's a good chance that when you're trying to get the right brass for that drilling and tapping, your bullet's still going to have a little bit of tension. So you're going to feel it kind of get sticky right near the tip where it starts to bevel down, as well as at the end of that boat tail, I guess, depending on the bullet type you have. So knowing that there's that little resistance right at the top there, kind of getting a feel when you're pushing it to know what that feels like. And then after that, you pretty much have a smooth push after that. Let's give it a shot. So I've got my bullet inside. I've also put my vise as flat as possible. There's a lot of guys that'll recommend using your cleaning rod to plunge it back out if the bullet gets stuck. I do not recommend that. You shouldn't be putting your cleaning rod back in. You should always be pushing it out. And so by keeping your vise straight as possible, hopefully when you're pulling it back out, the bullet doesn't stick inside. If it does, and that happened to me once, pick your gun out of the vise and let gravity do the work to pop that bullet out. It shouldn't be inside, wedged in your lands. You shouldn't be pushing that hard. So here goes nothing. So guide it right into the chamber. And you'll want it to fit nice and snug. And that is nice and snug, so I'm simulating my bolt, locking that in the chamber. And I'm just going to push this plunging rod And there I've got the first little bump of resistance, but that's what it should feel like. And there we go, it actually got past it, and I'm touching the lands. So if I lock this in place, and now if I'm lucky, I can pull this out without having to tilt my gun back, but we'll see. And that is our OAL for this rifle. Custom fit. Now, I do recommend that you do this 3 times and get an average, and then that way you know that you're on the right track there. So it's reading 3.402. The last 2 that I tried, actually 3 that I tried, were 3.400. So I got a little further in that time. I'm probably going to utilize 3.4 and then dial it back to 1,000, so 3.398, and that will be my custom fit seat. So my bullet is just not quite touching the lands, but ready to. So there's no freebore flight after it's the primer struck and the bullet starts traveling down the barrel. SAMI spec for the 7mm Remington Magnum is 3.29 inches. Seeing the comparison between the two, the bottom being the SAMI spec and the top being my custom fit spec, is quite an eye-opener. So if you don't have a headspace comparator, you just have to do some simple math. I know the average was 3.4 inches. We'll subtract 2 1,000ths, so 3.398. And from that, we just take the length of the brass that it was and subtract the head, the tip of the bullet, and we should be solid. It's important to state that your OAL measurement is going to be unique to your rifle. You can't interchange it with your buddies that's calibered in the same type of ammunition. So you're going to have to do this again if you decide that you want to try it in a different rifle. The other important thing is you're going to want to use a spent cartridge that's been shot from that other rifle that you're doing it, and so it will require you to go to a gunsmith to get it drilled out and threaded, so then you can use it with your OAL gauge. The distance between your neck of your brass and your lands in that rifle is going to be unique to that particular rifle, and so if you change your bullet type, your bullet, it's as well, if it goes to a match, or if you try a different hunting bullet, you will have to do this again, because each bullet is going to be formed just a little different, and you want to make sure that you're backing off of the lands by at least 2 1,000ths of an inch. Until next time, this is John from Man of Many Things. Take care.